so committed. And I think that that's amazing. That's is so inspiring. I don't think I would get up at 2 a.m. So
It's at first I was thinking maybe I won't be doing this for a long time, but I was listening to you and Charlie Freak. I think it was on the Mankind's Quest for True Health, and then you guys were talking. Charlie was talking about 3 a.m. and you were like, "Yeah, miracles happen at 3 a.m." And it like boom, it made sense to me because usually 3 a.m. on Tuesdays, I'm on Miraculous Mondays, getting you guys good energy. And
yeah,
I'm
that is
back
true.
for
That is true. 3 a.m. is an important, it can be an important wake up time. Like if you are woken up at 3 a.m., there's a purpose for it. And if it's not happening one day or whatever, that's okay too. Just rest.
so because usually 3 a.m.
Just rest. Okay, we are live. Hi, Sally. Hi, Marcy. Hi, guys. Just a few people popping on in the live. And you'll notice I have a different backdrop. I'm in the city. I'm in Mexico City. Okay, there's some green stuff and some billboards. I love the city so much. It really is a beautiful place. Hi, Danny wants to come and say hi too. There's Danny.
Hi, everybody. We love this city too. It's great. It's great. Nice to see you all. And for another wonderful week of high energy from our Sister Star series. Woohoo!
Thanks.
Hi, Mr. Dry Fast Champion.
I know, right? Peace out.
I'm about to be 121 hours into my dry fast, and I still feel good. And I remember we were talking about watermelons on one of the Miraculous Mondays, and my last meal before this dry fast was a watermelon, and I'm urinating quite regularly, or at least once a day. So I'm thinking like, hey, maybe this watermelon is a good idea. Also, it has been raining quite a lot outside, so that might help too. That might have been a help.
For sure. For sure, the rain would help. And that's like really powerful. I mean, wow, 120 some hours. Like, I think watermelons is such potent medicine. I really feel that it's really strong, really strong medicine. Like I can feel the differences between the fruit, right? Like oranges for me feel more like comfort food, like a meal. They sit in my belly in a different way. Watermelons feel like they go in and they go whoosh, they just like go right into my cells really quick, and they're like ding 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 ding. They just like go turn on everything else. They cancel out all the other stuff, and they're just like it's just a very different vibration. But
it hits you different. Because I noticed my urine the first 2 days was really clear, as opposed to when I'm just eating citruses or juicing citruses. My urine is really dark during the dry fast.
wow. Dude, you are such an inspiration. We're all going to get there at some point. Alan's going to lead us through some kind of retreat or some kind of like workshop, either online or in person, where we can just really have that space to do that deep work, because it really does require a level of spaciousness from the things, and I anticipate it will be a really clearing and healing process, just really powerful. But as we welcome all of our friends online, I want to get started and do a little meditation with you guys. I'm super grateful to have Alan and Sarah here, and I'm sure a few more will pop on as we get going. But either way, it really is about, let me put myself on the spotlight. It really is about being present. And I have had such an incredible spin these last couple months. And yesterday, we were driving through the mountains and kind of making our way into Mexico City. And as we turned this one corner, it was like the expanse of all of it was right there. And I was so moved to tears by the beauty of nature. And it was like we kind of drove into this portal. I kind of felt like we drove into this space. And as we got into the space, it was as if there was like a clearing, like a path clearing, like all of this energy. And as we were driving and I was in it, and I was feeling myself really kind of, we were also 10,000 feet above sea level. So like we were high, so like once you get high, it was like being in a different level. And all levels, my yoga teacher used to say, all levels practice in the same room. And that really resonated with me, because even though I felt like I was in this level where only love existed, like I was trying to think of reasons, like my ego was trying to come in and say, you should think about this, or you should, like, it was trying to get me off from the wholeness that I was feeling up there, like this just incredible expansiveness where there was only love. And it was so all encompassing that even though my ego wanted to get in there and like distract me, I realized that I was in a level of reality where all of that stuff didn't even exist. And we can say those things. And I think that a lot of us get that intellectually. And we've done enough spiritual work in our lives so far to be like, yeah, I get it. Like once you're meditating and you're in that place, then none of the things that bug you, none of the what ifs, none of the hardships, none of the concerns of daily life, I get it. Like they don't exist. But, I live in the real world, Marie. So I've got to like interact with people and this. And a lot of people come to me and they're like, I get it, but I don't get it. What I'd like this day and this week to be about our miracle minded community is to be about getting into that space so comfortably that you can be in the world. The world doesn't need to be your excuse to not be in the state of love. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to say, well, I can't be in this state because those people over there are doing A, B, and C, or this is happening with the COVID, or this is happening with this. That none of those, you could even call them character sketches. You could even call them, scenes in a film. None of that can affect you when you do this work, when you become a cleaning machine, when you become one of these beings of light that is literally here to transmute loving consciousness, to bring that reality in to a level where you see it all, but you don't give it the power over you, right? Like you're not going to make it an excuse why you can't be in that space. And here's the thing, friends, it's not an intellectual process. It's a feeling. I just want to say that again. It's a feeling in that your mind is cleared to the extent that you value, stay with me, only your loving thoughts. That's the practice. That's the nuance to link the thinking and the feeling and to be in the state of love. You must learn in time, because that's what time is for, how to value only your loving thoughts. Because peace is a dream we have until we wake up and realize it is what it's been there all the time. It can only be in that space where you're not valuing all of the other things. So kind of circling back to that mountain drive experience and being super high up there, that's the practice that we have on a day-to-day basis, on a moment-to-moment basis, is to get out of our survival, to get out of the lower chakras, to get into the heart space, which is on the level of compassion for all. You could say your mind is, in a sense, in the heavens. But as it's up in the heavens, there's an alignment where even if you feel a pang or whatever, in the moment you're clearing that energy, you're healing it. You're saying, no, I'm not going to let that have power over me. You clear it right away. You forgive yourself for that moment, that judgment, that grievance, that forgetfulness. and you keep going through the portal, regardless of if you can see the other side of it, you know that only love is real. So no matter what ails you, even if you're not in that space of love, even if you're frustrated and you had it in the morning and you did really great until about 12 noon when X happened, and then all of a sudden you got spun for a minute, even if you find yourself dipping back down into the problems of the world, into those character sketches, you go with the knowingness that it's not permanent and that it's not real to the extent that it can change you. Are you still with me? It can't change you because you're changeless. Your perfection is guaranteed by the Creator. So that's this work of purification, of polishing ourselves, of polishing our minds, of going, oh, wow, look, my egoic patterning is trying to take me to how I'm not lovable, or how I'm not good enough, or how someone said this about me, or how I said whatever it is. And you clear it in time. You say, yeah, I'm not going to value that anymore. It doesn't bring me the feelings that I want. So many of our feelings are like pangs or anxiety or discomforts. And that's just because in my understanding, we haven't cleared enough of those vibrations in our field. So if they're coming to you, it's just coming for more clearing. It's coming for more, you know what? Wow, I still felt that pang. But what happens when you learn how to really go through space and time in the now is that you can slow things down. So you can start to see the pang coming in because it's coming slower. You're not at the effect of it. You're more centered because you're doing your practices. You're getting up in the morning, you're drinking your juices, you're meditating, you're practicing your yoga, you're taking your deep breaths, whatever it is that you're doing. You're realizing that as it's coming in, you have more spaciousness to determine, am I going to value this? Because if I do, I'm going to have those feelings, the pangs, the anxieties, the discomforts. And that's what the ego is. There's way too many people, from my perspective, that are talking about the ego right now that feel fearful, that feel the pangs of egoic consciousness. Ego stands for edge God out. If, like, rationalize with me, if God is love and only love, then there's no space for the ego. It's all encompassing. There's only love there. So if I'm in my ego, I go, oh, I must have edged God out somewhere because I have the power. I'm the one holding the flashlight on my thoughts. I'm the one watching this projector. So if I allow myself, and it was just so fascinating to really be like physically uplifted in the mountains. I just love being in the mountains so much because what happens is it was like such a quick activation, such an upgrade that I realized all the places where I was still valuing my own interpretation of things, my own not good enough, my own dramas, my own, interpretation of what this person said and how that all played out. The bottom line is that, are you willing to trade your dramas for your dreams? For that heavenly awareness of in this space, miracles are occurring. Like we like get into the city and we go to this, I forget the name of the town, but it's a place where you ride these boats in canals. And there was tons of Sunday traffic. And it was just like, oh my gosh, Danny and I, we come a little bit down from the mountain and I start to feel like, oh, maybe we should have gone straight to our Airbnb in my mind. And he's like, no, we're good. And we're driving. And this guy comes to the car. Here's the kind of miracles that occur. And he's driving a little moped and he's like, follow me. I'm going to cut you through traffic. And my ego was like, you can't trust him. But Danny was like, great. He turned off the road. And I was like, all right, Marie, surrender. Here's your opportunity to stay in the vibration, to value that this is an angel of God that just came to our car that's going to show us around. Because that's a possibility in the unlimited field of possibilities. That could be what's happening. So we drive and we're kind of going through some really weird places. And I'm like, all right, I'm just going to keep breathing. The kids are in the back, blah. Next thing I know, we're pulling into like a private parking lot of these like people's houses. Like there's people live here. And so this guy has gotten us to the place that we need to go, to a parking spot that's safe for like $2.50. Okay. So we park the car, we thank him very much, and we go in, and Danny kind of looks at me and we go, wow, that was a miracle, because the GPS was about to take us, on a whole other trip. We get there. One thing, you guys, God wants to roll out a red carpet for each and every one of us. Really and significantly. I know this to be true because too many times it's happened in my life where if I really surrender, not subordinate to my ego, not be submissive to my egoic nature, but surrender instead to God consciousness and faith and trust that God's will is my perfect happiness. God's thinking is our joy. God's desire for us is to eat from the fruits, to eat from the trees, to just be in the bliss. That's what God wants for us. We're the ones that didn't want it. So this is what time is about. It's correcting this submissive, energy that we have to our ego. It must be difficult. It must be hard. It must be about drama. It must be about suffering. Well, those opportunities are the contrast that we often need to snap us back out. The dark is a great teacher sometimes. But the higher we get, crossed fingers, the less and less we'll need to go there. That we can start to trust and have faith that we're going to be guided. The entire day, friends, and even this morning, we're still in that zone where then we get into Mexico City, which is comparable to Los Angeles, New York, these big cities. And we pull up to our Airbnb and there's a parking spot right in front. Like these things are magnetic energies that are happening because we could be in fear of like, oh God, I don't know how we're going to get a parking spot. And Danny was like, well, let's just get there so we can park. And my ego went, oh my gosh, we didn't ask like immediately. I was just watching it. It came in slow, but I was watching it. He's like, it's good. This is the fun of having a partner too, who's into miracle mindedness. Because if you slip out, he just jumps right back in, or she or whatever, just like they just jump right back in. And you go, oh, wow, look, I'm parked. And then you walk into the place, it's perfect. And then you meet your friend just on time. Like we had this just miraculous day. Miraculous. Children had so much fun, the whole thing. But none of it, I mean, let me reframe that. It might have happened. It might have still happened because I have had moments where I'm in the dungeons and I still know that miracles are occurring. I can still see that, like, that was cool. I might not have felt it as deeply or like really been like, wow, that really happened, or in alignment to the miracle. Miracles are always occurring. But when I'm in the same place as the miracle, and then it's like that space where none of that stuff can penetrate, that's how I know that this work in time is such a gift. And this is what time is for. And it's going to take some time for a lot of us to practice this stuff. And just because we read it in a book or just because we did a juice feast or whatever, doesn't give us really the right to start, projecting out what others should do. That's another trick of the ego. Because the minute I go into that, I lose focus on what's actually happening in my movie, in my reality. And here's where I really think a fine line, could be clarified here, is that we might think it's selfish to be focused on ourselves so much. But I tell you this, it's selfless. Because the more I focus on my own energy, the more I am available. For example, we have dinner with a friend last night, and he's not, on the diet journey or on any of this stuff. Like he's not doing any of it. And 6 months ago, I wouldn't have made it to the dinner. I wouldn't have even gone. I wouldn't have even like taken my kids to this, I was just so in this protection mode. But because I've felt in the last few, weeks, just really empowered, because I'm starting to make decisions based on my own funnel of light, rather than somebody else's interpretation of the funnel of light being the one for everybody. We all have a direct lineage back to the creator. each and every one of us has a unique expression that we're responsible for pulling forward in this reality. And if I'm doing this, then others must be doing it too. There's a place where my ego gets a little like convincing in that you don't have to do it. He's already done it. Just relax a little bit. You can follow that gnosis, or you don't have to do that much meditation. Just like if he said that or she said it, or whatever, you can. It doesn't work that way. Gurus, teachers, all of them, they're beautiful, all of them. But we can't depend on them for our connection in space and time, because it's not sustainable. It'll spit us out at the other end exhausted, energetically drained, because it's like we're vulching like from somebody else's energy. So when you hear a teacher, when you hear a teaching, or you hear someone that's inspiring, my message today is take it home. Just really take it home. And for each and every one of us to have direct experiences. Focus on your journey. Don't let anyone tell you what the work is for you. Because, for example, Alan's dry fasting isn't my work right now, but I love it. I love it so much. I'm so grateful that he's doing that work at that level, because here's how I see it. If he's over there doing that work and I'm doing this work at the level that I'm at, and we're all levels are practicing in the same room, and we link up in the heart space, which is on the level, which is compassion, then that energy field that we create gets us to a certain level of a spiritual mountaintop, for example, where then God does the rest. Like we can lean into Alan's work, or you can lean into mine if you're like, for example, still eating animals and things like that's okay right now. Let's stop this race, because we're all in this container, this reality, this 3-4D, manipulation. We're all in it. We're all doing it together. But if we can meet on the level of heart and compassion, then all of our work together is perfectly, it's the right combination for us to ascend. And it's okay to be where you're at. It's not like, oh, well, I'll never be there, because that's, again, egoic. It's, wow, I'm really starting to pay attention to my diet in a way that I wasn't 2 weeks ago. Right on. Right on, guys. That's awesome. That's awesome. Because here's the thing. If we keep comparing ourselves to others, it's egoic. If we keep holding ourselves to other people's standards, we're distracted from our soul's journey. Our soul has a very, very unique journey. And each of us are like these God frequencies, these energies in these skin suits that look like that or look like this, from this country or from that culture, whatever it is. We all know that intellectually, but to really sit in that energetically and to be in the mystery and just the fantastic possibility of what that could look like if we really made eye contact with each other. Like last night, looking at my friend, I could see all of the sickness. I could see it. I could see all of it. But it must have been how Jesus was with the lepers, like he could see it, but he chose to see beyond it. He chose to see beyond it, because that was the gift he gave to his brothers and sisters. And that's the gift that we can give to our brothers and sisters, is to see beyond it. Because if we are only seeing it, that's where we are still stuck in the darkness. Are you with me? Like we're stuck in it. We're like, oh, I can only see this. I can't get through it. But that's what it is like. The more that you travel, the more that you get to that spiritual mountaintop, it's such a gift, because it clears those pathways. So you can see where maybe you were stuck in those places too. And you see how far you've come in forgiveness of yourself, You know how hard it is sometimes to get over to beat yourself at your own game. You got to beat yourself in many ways at the game that you created because you're attached to it. You're attached to your constructs. Of course you are. But here's what happens. The more you clear it, the more you get to co-create with your creator. It's co-create. It's not try-create. It's not like, oh, I'm going to, sometimes, yeah, we'll come together and we'll collaborate and we'll create beautiful things. But that level can only happen if each and every one of us is co-creating. That's when miracles can occur and the right people are placed in the right, scenarios. And like today, even I went down to the little cafe for a little morning and I was journaling and this woman walks by me and she's asking for money. And I honestly, like, I had Vietnamese money in my wallet, like my kids' play money, that I had from 100 years ago. And I didn't have any pesos on me. And so I kind of was like, gosh, I feel so bad. But it was fine. And she walked and then she came back and she literally like stood there. And my Spanish is okay, but we had this amazing conversation. She was collecting money for her granddaughter who was with her that had some physical issues, you could tell. And she was telling me about it and I was trying to understand. And we were kind of getting there and she was asking me what I was writing. And we just had this moment. It was like, that's what God wanted. God wanted us to make eye contact. I told her about watermelons. I was like, maybe try to give the child. She was telling me that she gives her milk. I was like, maybe she wants to have watermelon juice instead in the morning. Not like, oh my God, you're giving her milk, you crazy woman. No, it's like, and she was like, well, and she pulled out the strawberry juice that she made the granddaughter. I went, see, look, guys, what happens when we get so beyond what we're trained to do, which is judge and separate. We're trained. That's egoic, fear-based consciousness. It really is. And it separates and divides way, way, way too much. Even with my friend, one of the first things he said to me was, I'm vaccinated. And I felt my body just go, and I heard the vibrations and I was like, oh, and then it was like, exhale. And I just pulsed out my energy. I just pulsed it out. And it just had that pink bubble around it. This guy, you should have seen the face change from the beginning of the night to the end. The brightness. Really, I could not take credit for it. All I could do was sit and witness in gratitude for it, for the opportunity. That's what I believe Christ was doing. He could see the light come through people because he kept seeing it. It's a very exciting feeling to do that, to keep seeing the light and then for them to see the light and then to join in the light. That's where we're in unity together. It's only there. It's not. A lot of people, we like to join in the gossip, and we'll do that for fun sometimes. That's okay now and then, but we like to join in the he said and the she said, and can you believe this situation, all that. It's fun a little bit. It's fine, but like the juice, you know what I mean? Like the nutrients, the nourishing energy of unity comes when we meet in that space of compassion and brotherhood. And I really feel like a return back, like I've been through this portal, like I've gone through, what it feels like to slander online and then to be slandered online and to be like, ooh, that's some weird vibration. Literally, like the cords of energy, what that feels like, it's not wholeness. I cannot be whole. I cannot be in that spiritual energy of love and bliss and like lost and found. I can't be in there if I'm slandering or if I'm allowing the slander into my field. I don't even want to make the people slandering wrong anymore because I did that before. I know how that feels. Now it's time for me to make amends. Like for shizzle. Hi. Please forgive me. I got stuck in a dark zone. It was inappropriate. Take responsibility for it. I'm forgiving myself, and I trust someday you'll forgive me. And you leave it. Because again, the energy, the thought of judgment creates a feeling. And if you go always to your feelings of what do you want to feel like? I was with a client on Saturday. It was like, how much time are you spending each day in joy? Literally, I'd clock it out. How much time are you spending in anxiety? How much? Clock it out. And then know that you get to decide where you want to be. And then you got to do the work to devalue the thoughts that bring you anxiety. Devalue those. Pull out your investment. That's how you unplug from your ego. You go, yeah, I'm not going to value that thought anymore about my brother who's innocent. I'm not talking about the really heinous stuff. I'm talking about interpersonal relationships, guys. Just like, let's just stay right here. Let's just work on ourselves for a second before we tackle the world. Because guess what? It's all about what's happening in here. And the more that we do this, the more the out there is going to change. And then I devaluate and I unplug and I pull and I pull and I pull and I breathe and I breathe and I breathe. And I start to feel my energy lifting. And then I'm like, wow, that beautiful grandmother. How amazing. She came and sat next to me and talked to me about all this stuff that I barely understood. But I got it, I got it. What a miracle that happened. That probably wouldn't have happened if I was like, which is what we are sometimes in big cities. Or we're afraid that somebody's going to take rather than someone's going to give. It's been really interesting to really focus on feelings again and using those as a compass rather than the intellect, because ego loves intellect. It loves to be spiritually righteous. It's really kind of like comical sometimes. I like watch how mine's been operating. And it's not like it's been all the time, but I've had my moments of really being like, wow, I did some real crazy stuff recently. Really did. That's okay. Like, it's just, what can I learn from it? Am I willing to see it differently? That's why the last few shows I've been really careful to be like, what do I know again? What can I know is truth? Love. I really don't know anything else but love. Nothing else really makes a lot of sense anymore. Is this loving? Is this loving? Is it nurturing? And if it's not, clear it right away. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. Clear, wiping slates. Just keep wiping. That's the beauty of awareness of your own stuff. You can clean it. And then you see all your stuff out there. And instead of going, it's too gross, or it's his fault, instead of doing any of that, you just observe it. And you look at it and you go, okay, well, what do I want on this canvas? I want the love. Okay, wow, I'm getting smarter now. Here's the healing. Okay, I want the love. All right, so let's just focus on that and watch how the rest of it dissipates. Clear some of the smudges, smudge away, keep clearing. And then in front of you, you've got this blank canvas. And that's where that co-creation comes from. You go, wow, I can really co-create with this energy of love, something beautiful in any given moment. And then there's nothing left to just be then grateful. You don't have to do it. I don't have to do it by myself. Shoot, by myself, I make big messes. I wouldn't have trusted the guy who took us. I would have been like, forget you, creepy guy. I would have freaked out about the parking. I would have pushed the grandmother away. That's the stuff I do without the presence of the divine, constantly with me. But with the presence of the divine, I can, wow, miracles occur. There's no order of difficulty. Everybody's lit up. Everybody's beautiful. Even the people that I can see their sickness on. I can just see the potential of them. That feels like a lot more fun. So I'm trusting that that little riff resonates with you guys. I really wanted to share that because it seems that, at least for where I'm sitting, I feel like I'm taking a turn back to love, back home, where I belong, where I've longed to be all this time. But, we veer off and we call it the straight and narrow, or we call it this, or we call it whatever, but it's not a place. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. You could call it a place, I guess, but it's a place in which you feel there's nothing else but love. And if that's your intention every day, and that's what you're committed to for the next 20 years and 20 minutes, you're good. You make timestamps. You clear energy within this field, not only for yourself, but for everybody. You clear it. You clear it. You just boom. We're driving in this boat. Yeah, not driving. We're going along in this like canal in this boat. And there was all sorts of profanity. I mean, just all sorts of it. Lots of drinking, lots of Coca-Cola and chips and all the things. And you could look at it like, I said to Danny at one point, wow, it's kind of surprising how many people still drink Coca-Cola. He goes, because I never did that. I smoked cigarettes. I mean, I did all the other crazy stuff, but I just never drank Coke. And he's like, well, I used to drink it. I go, oh, right. I get it. So again, we've all done the craziness. So then it was like, all right, well, I'm just going to watch this. And the kids are like checking it out. They think it's hilarious. They're watching. There's like mariachi bands on boats. It's like all dressed up. I mean, the whole 9 yards, all of the food and all of the things and all of it. But it was like we turned this one corner at one point on this canal, and it was just the flowers, And you can see the humans, and you can see like, wow, wouldn't it be amazing when you guys come down, or whoever, the next group that comes down to Mexico City, we're going to take that boat trip. And our coolers are going to be filled with watermelon juice and apples and mangoes and bananas. And we're going to sit our boat down, and lay out our spread with a beautiful tablecloth too. And we're going to enjoy the fruits, and we're going to allow people to feel that vibration. And who knows, we'll be detached from the outcome because the rest is God's work. All we need to do is join forces and focus on loving consciousness and miracle mindedness. Focus on it 24/7 and give the rest to God. And people will say to me, oh, Marie, you're bypassing again. Now you're bypassing. You're not calling a spade. And I'm going to call it straight up. No, it's not a bypass. It's not a bypass. It's a clearing. It's stand back, because that stuff doesn't have power over me anymore. It's not going to plug me into the feelings of anxiety so that I turn around and start judging. No. No, I am going to look at all of it, but I am going to look straight through it. That's the power of the divine in each and every one of us. That's just waiting for nothing more than our attention. That's all it's requiring is your attention. I want to check out what's going on in the, thank you. This is brilliant. Hi, friends. I'm just checking out the chat right now. Beautiful. So good to see you guys. Hi, Elias. Right. That's right. We can't do the work for each other, no, but we can model. We can model what it is, and we can have fun. There were times when I, drank a bunch of alcohol on a boat. I've done that before. I mean, who among us really can say they haven't? I mean, maybe there are some of you. Awesome. That's awesome. But you've got other skeletons in your closet, like I drank on a boat. I did that. But why are they doing that? Like, go deeper. What is, they just want to feel the love. They're just trying to get to that energy. That's why I did it. Yeah, you got hung over the next day and you felt like crap and all that stuff, but you didn't care. Because why? Because it's natural for us to want to feel love. It's the most natural thing in our existence is to want to feel connected to our creator. It's the only thing that we really want. And we seek the world looking for it, but it's not out there. We seek it in this and that and the food. That's why, when I'm coaching people that are like, well, I can't give up pasta. And I go, I know, it's good stuff. I go, but you know what you want the pasta for, right? Joy, comfort. That's why you're going to it. Parmesan, I know. But it's just because you've made associations with it. And now your body has a physical memory of the joy from the cheese. I get it. I so get it. It's okay. Even if you backlash or you do it again, it's fine. It's just you get back on track and you go, what again, it's just going back further and further into yourself. What is it I'm really looking for? And where can I get it? And if you need to get it in food now and then, fine. There's nothing more delicious to me. Like I had a grapefruit juice this morning that blew my mind. Like telling you, if you allow yourself to change your mind about what brings you joy, you will find joy in the simplest of things. You can sit on a boat ride, just fasting most of the day. I probably had, I drink a bunch of juice, and I have not been perfect recently. I've dabbled. I'm in the city again. I'm like back in the world more than I've been, like kind of in the middle of nowhere for a while. And so I kind of got back in the world. I was like, I wonder what I can get away with, it's like what it is. No big deal. I'm watching myself kind of play again, look around. But all day yesterday, just on the juice and the fruits, watching and smelling the alcohol and the things. It wasn't all the time, but just the waves of it, knowing, wow, I can find so much pleasure in the present moment. Thank you, Marie, for doing this work. And that's not egoic. That's acknowledging. Thank you, Marie, for doing this, right? Thank you, Alan, for doing this work. Thank you for those of you in the chat that constantly show up to these conversations because you want miracles. You want to live in the field of miracles. Purification is essential first. And yeah, it's physical, but it's also emotional. It's not feeling those plugs to anxiety anymore. It's literally uncording yourself. No, thank you. Looking at the people that want to pull you back into that and suction your energy and harvest your energy. It's gross. They might not even know they're doing it, whether they know it or not, but you know. You don't want to get into an argument with them. You just want to be like, yeah, no thanks. All good. Peace out. Good luck with that. Good luck. Breathe a lot. I would start reading the texts again from a higher perspective. If you want, I love you. Good luck. Namaste. And just shift your attention. Just done. Complete. Relationships are not meant to last forever. A lot of them. We're assignments. I'll give you this before I open it up. We are assignments in each other's lives. And some assignments are like my meeting today with the grandmother. That was a moment. That was a synchronicity. That was by the divine hand. That wasn't meant to be like a lifetime friendship or anything. That was just a moment. Beautiful. Thank you. We both were thankful it was over. What about, relationships that last a little bit longer? And then they end. And then everybody goes, it was so sad. And I wish we didn't. Or you learn your lessons from that relationship and you go, wow, that was amazing. I'm so glad it's over. Thank God. Whew. And see how that person played a perfect part in your life. They played their part perfectly for you to learn certain lessons. You're going to attract another character just like them unless you learn those lessons. I mean, how many times do I need to realize that I am my own guru? And you are your own guru. And how many times does Spirit want me to teach that? That each of us has a direct line back. And each of us has to do that work. So a lot of times those relationships last 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 2 weeks, whatever. But when they're over, let them be. And then do the work. And we've got lots of tools in yoga off the mat. I'm just going to plug my course for just 2 seconds. Reach out. And I have some of them online, that are complimentary, just in terms of really, doing the work. You don't do the work just because you know about it. You have to sit down sometimes and write out, what are my expectations? I kind of love the sound of sirens. I haven't heard them in so long. It's just like comforting because city. My years in San Francisco, I don't know. It's like, it feels really comfortable to be in the matrix a little bit and to not be so invested in it. It's so much fun. It's like, look at all these trees in the middle of freaking cardboard. Like they're just popping out of everywhere. Trees, they just keep coming. Anyway, about relationships, and then you've got your lifetime relationships, families, partnerships, and all of that. But let us be more fluid. If a relationship ends, bless it. Be grateful. Be grateful for the selflessness we play in each other's lives. I mean, sometimes you're going to play the villain. Sometimes you're going to play the hero in someone else's reality, but it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to be attached to it. You don't have to prove to someone you weren't the villain. You just get to know yourself more and more. And maybe that was what you guys signed up for. Oh, okay, I'm going to play the villain this time, and then we're going to switch it around. Because again, remember where we started this conversation, in that field where only love exists, which is reality, which is where, miracles, you don't even need miracles up there because miracles get you there. Once you're there, you can throw away all the books and all the oranges, it doesn't matter. You don't need it. You're absorbed into it. It's a beautiful feeling. But there you see the relationships and you can go, oh, wow, so cool how that played out. Geez, that's a magnificent storyline. Who wrote the script here? This is like, this is where the juice is. This is where the awards need to be passed out, where we look around and we can be grateful for our brothers and sisters because we don't know what we agreed to up there. And we can only know the more we keep going there. And then we go, okay. But again, we're going to have our blind spots. We're going to have them. But here's my thing. If someone wants to call out my blind spots, I want it to be, someone that I've trusted and someone that I've asked. Because otherwise, it just feels like you're in a fishbowl. And people are waiting for you to make mistakes. And when you're in relationships like that, they're toxic because you're going to, that's what they want you to create. And so subconsciously, you're going to create it so that they get what they want, because that's like a dysfunctional relationship. That's why it's going to take a lot of energy, like a lot of us, some people have been, going back to their families of origin or, healing relationships with their parents or, their siblings, and a lot of that stuff happening because so much has been broken this last year. In those times, this is where we really get to practice. How far have we come? How far have we really come? Can we sit and keep smiling? I know I said I was going to open it up. Well, one last story I want to give you. One last thing is this. I remember a really long time ago, I think I shared with you guys in some of these shows that I was married before, and he was older than me in a different religion and, my yoga teacher and like all of these things. And I knew that I had to do it. And I think all of us have had these moments in our lives where, you have to do something and, either you don't want to, but you have to. Are you kind of with me where you're like, shit, if I do this, this is going to change the trajectory of my life in a big way. And I know if I don't do it, the depression of not doing it is going to be too hard to overcome. So you kind of feel like you have to make the choice, right? And so I made the choice, and I knew that going into this relationship was just something I had to do. And I did it. And it upset and it disappointed a lot of people in my life. And it hurt them really, really deeply. And I played this person in their life that disappointed them and, wasn't following suit. And how could you do this? All of that. We've all played those roles for people, or they've been played on you, right? But I remember sitting down with someone I love very much who was deeply affected by my choice to marry my yoga teacher and, all the things. And it was another one of these mountain moments where I wasn't in the mountains at all. I was in the back of the restaurant, and it was really loud and all the things, but everything slowed down. You know what I mean? And I couldn't even hear the words coming out of his mouth. I just saw his face. kind of moving, and like, you know, the sadness and the projection and the fear and just all of the distortion, all of his pain and all of his suffering. But I couldn't hear the form of it. I could just see it. But as it was coming through, it was like there was a shield that came down, like a window shade. It was transparent, so I could still see it, but energetically I felt like blocked. So I didn't feel it. I was like, wow, like I'm like not feeling this energy exchange. And a lot of us don't know how to deal with our energy yet. So we're like feeling it. We're like, ooh, and I don't mean, and then we defend it and we get all blah. It was very early in my practices. And I was like, wow, this is cool. And then it stopped. And there was like a peace that kind of came across his face. And he said, well, don't you have anything to say? I did hear that part. And I said, I just love you so much. And I just don't see it the way that's you're seeing it right now. And there's another way of seeing it if you want to. And I love you so much. And I love you. Just keep, and I love you. But don't just say I love you. Like really mean it, guys, because there's a lot, I love you. Like heart. Like I love you, brother. I love you so much. Like that. And nothing else needed to be said. Because in a way, him just being able to express himself was enough. But me, thank goodness, in that moment, having the energetic distance from the effects of that projection is essential on this work. Because from my experience, the higher I get, the more people want to give you their sins. They want to give it to you. And their sins are just where they're missing the mark of love, where they can't see the love in a situation. That's all it is. It's not a tragedy. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just a place where, you know, they see dark, where you see light still. You have places where you see dark and other people are going to show you the light, and they might even be meat eaters. Whoa. They might actually teach you something. We have to be really careful with this stuff as we keep ascending. That's really what I'm getting, and that's what I wanted to share. Careful with your energy. Be loving, be loving, be loving, be loving. Notice when you feel like you're going to go into anxiety and unplug whatever that is. Clear it right there and then in the moment. You become very powerful when you do that. You just say, no, thank you. You deep breath, you push that away. Only love is real. I only want miracles in my reality. I only value loving thoughts. I teach only love because that's what I am. Peace. Peace is a dream until I wake up and realize that's all there is. And yeah, that's what I have for us today, for this beautiful week from Mexico City, this beautiful city in the world. I love you guys very much. And I know I didn't do a meditation. I just kind of went for it. But maybe, maybe we'll end with a meditation today. Let me see. Okay. So do either of you guys want to share anything? We have a small group today. That the chat's busy. All right, let me come back here. Beautiful earrings, Marie. Thank you. Thanks, Lonnie. But yeah, either of you want to share? Ellen, you want to come on in? How was that for you?
Sure. It was great. I had a lot of things kind of reminded me of what went on this past couple of days, but I know what you mean when you say you like these sound of the sirens when you're in the city. And I spent some time in San Francisco in the North Beach area.
Oh, nice.
And whenever I would go to sleep, I would hear people outside chit-chattering, having fun. And then in the morning, I hear the people cleaning up, and yeah, it was comfort. For some reason, it was comforting for me.
Yeah.
But when you say, when you were talking about eye contact and love, yeah, I've been, I think it's, since I've been dry fasting, I noticed my my movement's a lot more slower, and I'm thinking, yeah, my body's probably conserving energy. So yesterday on my way to work, on the crosswalk, I see two folks on a bike, they were speaking English, so I was already assuming they're not from Japan, and they had no mask on. And usually, when I do these long dry fasts, I try to keep my mouth closed, because if every time I talk, my mouth gets dried, and that's the issue with dry fast. That's what makes dry fasting pretty difficult sometimes, because my mouth gets dried and it's hard to talk. But I see them with their no mask on, so I had to go say hi. But yeah, on my way to work, I was moving really slow. I have my head down, try to conserve energy. I see these folks, and I say hi, like, where you guys from? And as we start talking, we like I felt this like sudden increase in energy. So yeah, when you were talking about love, that love energy, and then that eye contact, it's like, oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
like it beats, like I didn't even care if my mouth was gonna dry up. I was really happy that they were pretty happy too that we got to talk. But and yeah, the more I put my trust in God, the less fear, definitely very little fear. And so I could live in the now and the present and not worry too much about the future. Because yeah, miracles are happening all the time. We probably a lot of times we miss it. And
Yeah.
so like it just gives me less fear to just keep continuing with this dry fast. And yeah, another thing to put trust in. I was like 20 years old, and I remember coming back to my my station. I was stationed in Germany, and so I had a little. I think it was a little vacay, and I come back, and when I land in the airport, I had no. I was so young, and I was living recklessly. I had no idea that I had to like apply for a shuttle in advance, and then the shuttles won't move if there's not enough people. And so it was just like me, and I'm just stuck at the airport. I can't get back to my my base, and but for some reason I didn't worry. Right, that at that time I was a kind of an atheist, but for some reason I had a like trust that, hey, it's gonna be okay. And I happened to meet some folks who was driving to my base, and I was like, hey, they're like, yeah, hey, you want to get on? And I was like, oh, sweet.
Nice.
And then I look back at it now, I was like, yeah, these are one of many miracles that we experience, and it's beautiful. And it's
Yeah.
like, wow, a lot of these things are happening. I don't want to say it's happening more often, but it's more noticeable now. Now that I've been a believer. So it's it's really great. And when you say be careful of your energy, right, and trying to argue with folks, making us separate. Yeah, people will be like, hey, if you go 3 days without food or water, you're gonna die. And then back then when my ego gets the best of me, I'll bark back like, so what am I doing? Am I defying or am I debunking your science? You know what I mean? Like, can't you see proof right in front of your face?
Right.
It would be like that. But now it's just like, oh, okay. Like I should say I understand more often. I still say I understand, but yeah, I'd be like, I understand. Thank you for your concern. Thank you, and then just go on. And so, and just focus on my journey so that I can be that light. I can be that lighthouse, like we mentioned several times in Miraculous Mondays. But yeah, I'm here. I'm back to get more miracles from
Thank you.
you, Marie, and then the mighty companions. Give me that energy so I could continue
It's beautiful.
with this dry fast a little longer.
Wow.
And test my limits. But yeah, now that I'm at this stage, I really put trust in the creators, so I'm not too worried anymore. And I just taking
Yeah.
it day by day with this dry fast, see where my limits are. But if I die, I die. But spoiler alert, I'm not gonna die. So but yeah, love
Wow.
you all.
Love you too, Alan. Thank you for sharing that. I like what you were saying about like testing your limits. And, on one hand, like you're really modeling for us how to do that, as it relates to like life and death and what do we really need to survive, like all of those things. And not only to survive, but to thrive. I know that's a bit of a cliche, but like to live your life with intention and to be kind of this expanded being, not just to like get through the days, but like you said, like to go day by day, not just like trying, you're just like going. It's like there's a slowness that's happening in your time frame because it's not, there's so much time to be saved from not preparing, meals or whatever. So you have more space to kind of be in that miraculous energy of love. And when we test our limits, with our diet, that's one way, but also to test our limits as it relates to interpersonal relating, as it relates to relationships, as it relates to the people who tell you you're going to die. And now you can see your growth by just going, yeah, namaste. Namaste, like so much love to you, brother. Like, and knowing that you don't have to be responsible for proving anything to them, that you played your part perfectly if you modeled love. Like really, and if you did it, you did it perfectly. You don't have to go out there and make sure that the gift that you gave that friend or whatever, those people in your life lands the way it's supposed to, because that would be egoic. Generosity from a very like high spiritual perspective, from how I understand it, is when I give love, I realize I have it. That's the only way I know I have it, is if I give it. So to give and to receive is the same. So like you gave yourself a gift. Think of how you would feel, if you went into your old behavior of trying to prove. If we're using our feeling kind of vibe from today and like that theme of feelings, that would be a different vibration altogether. Think about how your stomach would feel, how your heart would probably pick up its pace. Your adrenals might shoot out some, a little bit of energy. Your breath might get a little short. Your words might get fast, those types of things when we go into defense. But when you're so deep into your own, spiritual practices, you have a power it's like way beyond you. That's like the old Alan, it's like the old Marie out there being like, brah. And I have tendencies to go back there. I do. Those are deep. I might've been, I had some Joan of Arc energy. I've got some like throw myself into the fire energy. We all have karmic patterns here, but we don't have to play them out. That's transformational work. A lot of people are, thinking they're doing the work, but they're the same people they were 15 minutes ago. Like, I'm like, wow, I'm like really growing here. Like I'm watching again, that observation mode of like watching yourself going, wow, way to go. You really handled that differently. Wow, you really messed that one up. But that's okay. Like you could see it now, but like look at it. So that next time you have this opportunity, you do what Alan did and you just go, yeah. And you walk away and you allow God Almighty to do all the work up there that needs to be done. Hi.
Hi, guys.
This is my guy. That's Alan.
Alan?
Yeah. That's Alan. He's in Japan.
That's very far away.
It's pretty far away. Yeah. It's pretty far away. They were watching Kung Fu Panda. They were doing some Kung Fu stuff today. Right?
No, I'm watching Pokemon now.
Oh, okay.
That's my favorite movie.
It is?
Yeah.
Do you want to show him your shirt? This is a really cool shirt Adam has. It's waves. Right?
And Storm.
Waves in a storm. It's a lot about how we weather our storms, isn't it? Hi, Adam.
It's beautiful.
Thanks for coming on the show.
When I saw that waves and storm, and I think of water, and I was Yeah, I was looking into Japanese kanji like I usually do. And then this is the kanji for water.
Nice.
And then this is the kanji for forever.
Ooh.
They don't they look they look alike? It's like,
Wow.
it's like wow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
And
so funny. It's like Adam yesterday, he asked me, how old is God? It's like forever. I mean, like when we get those like massive like questions, they're so provoking for me. They're so like I get so expanded to go, wow, like those moments of like, how old is God? Like the beginning of time and like how we're all here. We were all here, just like the excitement of it all, like, and that forever and water are like the same, and like water, like the mystery of it. Like, how do we make water? Who makes water? Like, that's the level we need to be like much more surrendering to this divine energy. It does really awesome stuff, like mountains.
I gotta read Genesis again because if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the water was there and then God separated with the firmament. And so, also, yeah, forever in Japanese or in this kanji is en. So en means circle or connected. And so the last time when Penny said, "Hey, your nickname is all in," right? All, right, in English means everything. And N, my name is spelled Allen, as you can see on the. So N is circle or connected. So all circle or connected. So I was like, that's a great nickname.
Yeah. All in. You are all in. You
Thank
are.
you.
And that's the beautiful thing. And no one can tell you that you're not. I think we're all in, if you ask me. Like, even the ones that we might judge for being super sleepy Coke drinkers, like, they're all into their part in this movie. They're playing a part in your movie. Bless them. Say thank you. They should be making big bucks for the part they're playing in your movie. Like, it's like, it just feels so much better to be in that energy. And I think that a lot of us are afraid to really be in those vibes of love. We don't think we deserve it. We're so used to our suffering. We're so used to that. We've normalized the anxiety and the fear that it just feels better to kind of be like that, like you're saying with your name, all in. It's like in the Course of Miracles, there's the essence of the teaching is very simple. It says, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So, like, you're going to love this. It's like, okay, nothing real can be threatened. So it's like what we're talking about here. If I'm in the state of love, I cannot be threatened. Nothing real can be threatened. And all that's really real is love. It's real that you can fast for more than 3 days. That's real. So it can't be threatened. So if you defend it, you give it power. You say that it's real when it's not. You already know that. So you're like, whatever. You move on with your day. That's not real. I'm going to devalue any thought I'm not going to put my energy in that direction. I'm going to shine my flashlight on that and get all wrapped up into that drama. It's not real. Nothing real can be threatened. You are an innocent child of God. Every single one of you watching this now or in a replay, innocent child of God. Nothing that's happened to you can change that, and nothing that will happen to you will change that. It's up to us to find that, right? So nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. So the thought about not being good enough, or what happened when you were 5, or the failed marriage, or all of the things. And people go, that doesn't exist, Marie? Come on, it totally existed. I went through a divorce. I'm like, I know it existed in the dimension of learning, but in the field of love, it didn't happen. It was here that you learn. You're just here having this experience for a lesson. And when you know that, there's where the peace is. Here in that field of observation is where the peace of God is. That's where it is. That's your peace in the wholeness of God. So you get to take it if you practice those 3 lines. Nothing real can be threatened. It's like when my beautiful friend and was in front of me telling me how disappointed he was in me and all that. It wasn't real. So I didn't have to engage in it. It didn't exist in the field of love. I was making a decision from the field of love, and knowing my destiny needed to go in that direction, knowing it on a very high level. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're in that, you can't be threatened. It doesn't exist. And that's where you get your piece of heaven. You get your part in this incredible love, this field, this vibration of unity consciousness. It's there. That's what unity consciousness is. Too many people are trying to get to unity consciousness by, like playing like that with their daggers out, like shooting nothing. It's not even there. You're wasting your energy. Pull your energy back in. It's a big teaching for a lot of us to recalibrate ourselves around it. Because if I find myself getting sucked in, I know that we're all in this thing together, and what's fun about getting, going through like hard tunnels or weird, situations in our lives, or, relationships disintegrating, whatever is happening. Every time we go through those portals, that's why I wrote in my post, like, I would do it again. I hope I don't have to. Please, Spirit, please, like, can I just have like a good long break, like where just relationships are peaceful. Everybody's in the state of, like, I just really need that. But like, I would do it again if I needed to. I would, because I'm here to clean as much as I can. And so if I need to do that again, I will. Please, sweet Jesus, I have got my crystals out, like I was wearing the incense on the stage, like but I'll do it for us. And I would do it for us, because every time I do it, I see the sons and the daughters of our creators. And I look at them and I go, wow, you're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. Even you over there in your debauchery. You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful. I wish you wouldn't do that, but that's okay. It must be for some reason. It must be for some reason. I did that 7 seconds ago. And again, if time is an illusion, which it is, then I'm not early or late, and neither is she. I'm just on time. So, the lady dancing crazy, like I like tried to get my daughter to not look. And then I was like, okay, Marie, this is happening, it's not real. Don't defend it. Don't make it something real. You get, do you know what I mean? It's high stuff. It's so much more fun. Yeah. Thanks, friends, you guys in the chat and with us now. Me and Alan are really having a great conversation. Sarah, I think, is in here, but she's blacked out. If anyone wants to pop in, you're welcome. But yeah, Alan, it's good stuff, right?
I hope I don't have to do this again. But if this happens again, I won't give up. I guess I won't be too mad. And when you say, we living like a movie, the more I live like this is my true man show, right? The less fear I have, and then the less I kind of understand, like, your family members, your friends, or people close to you, or other folks who are giving you shit. I feel like ultimately this is just a test, and forgiveness and love is part of the test, and so it makes it easier for me to forgive. Like, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go get the vaccine. Woo! It's like, oh, if you want to get the vaccine, please go ahead and go for it. I just pray for the best for you. You just forgive, and this is part of some side character of this Truman Show.
Right.
And I fear less of, just like when I took a small boat out and I couldn't come back into shore. I knew maybe, hey, this might be it, but I didn't panic. And just the more you believe that the creator is doing everything for a reason, the less fear you have.
Yeah. Well, it's self-organizing. There's a principle of self-organization in the universe and recalibration. So it's always going to recalibrate to a higher level if you let it. If you're creating denser and denser situations, is because you're not learning your lessons. So It's like being fearless, like getting on the boat and not freaking out. Being fearless means you fear less. Like, it's not real in and of itself. So I'm giving this fear power. Oh my God, I'm going to die. Well, if you're not afraid of death, then whatever is going to happen will happen. So what happened? It recalibrated to your highest good. That's what it does. So you didn't need to. So it brought in the right person to say it. It's like, this is miracles. That's what's so amazing about miracles. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do them. You just have to change your mind. You just have to change your mind. And then they occur naturally, because that is that self-organizing principle of God. You're never lost. I mean, how cruel would God be if we decided we wanted to be separate and there was no way back home? That's ridiculous. That's what parent would ever do that? The kid leaves the house and you lock the doors and go, well, I don't know how you're going to get back here. You're screwed. You did A, B, and C, and you can't get back, and you need to do better. And God does not operate that way. In the moment, you could be eating a burger and drop the burger and say, I'm never doing that again. And it's fine. It's forgiven. It's already been forgiven. God doesn't need forgiveness. We do. God doesn't judge it. God knows that you are perfect because he created you that way. You're the one who doesn't know that yet. So that's what time is for. That's all life is about. What a gift that the way home is actually so easy. That's why the prodigal son is so celebrated in the Bible. And if you look at, for example, a lot of people have been using this whole turning the money changers and that story of Christ. He went into the temple and he took the money changers. So everybody thinks that's about money and selling. And somebody wrote me recently in Messenger, and I'm sorry, I can't remember your name in this moment, but I hope you watch this and you hear this acknowledgement. But she said to me, if the Bible's an allegory, maybe that's about our own inner work of pulling over like the tables of the ego in our own mind. It's not really about what's out there. It's about where am I valuing my ego? Like where, and turning those tables over, and turning the table over could be like just uncovering it. Like so many of us are covering up our darkness, are covering up our sins, are justifying our behaviors. Someone said to me yesterday, my friend, about he's going through a divorce, his relationship, and he said, she ruined me. She didn't ruin you. Please, would you like to reframe that? She ruined you? Really? She's that powerful? Wow. This lady. Like, she can't ruin you. But that was his table that he needed to kind of peek under. He was hiding behind that. And this is what we do, guys. This is our woundedness. This is our trauma. We hide in our darkness. And God is going, hey, none of that's real. Just flip the switch over on the right. Just flick the switch. Flip the switch. No, what will happen? Nothing. You'll feel a lot better. But the lights will come on. You'll see where, the heebie-jeebies and all of that, like the scary people, they dissipate. It's all good. It's all good, friends. We've been through the ringer this last year, all of us, every single one of us, so many relationships, on the edge, so many broken, so many new friends, so many old friends. I mean, it just, wow. Last, more than that, 18 months been significant for everyone. I would argue on every level. We've all been so uber challenged, and it's all perfectly orchestrated for each and every one of us. There it is again. For each and every one of us to learn as much as we can in any given moment. That's what the Holy Spirit does. This intermediary, this inner teacher voice that we have within us is using everything in our lives as a teaching opportunity. Everything. And so many of us are so wounded about school and learning and everything that we're trying to save face here. Stop it. This teacher that you have, this inner teacher, is a teacher with loving compassion. Loving kindness is his way, her way. So if you turn and you ask for the lesson, it's going to be done in a loving way. It might feel harsh sometimes, to have to take responsibility for your errors, for the places where you missed the mark and all of that. but it's not done with judgment. It's done because with love, because it can see you. It can see who you really are, not who you think you are in time and space. Does that make sense? Yeah. Anybody want to pop in? Sarah, I'm going on a like major tangent today. I really needed, this recent, some of you who are watching know what's been going on, on the periphery. And so you might be able to hear some of what I'm learning as I'm maneuvering through kind of my most recent disintegration of relationships that I thought were a different thing. But it's all so good. Hi, Sarah. So I feel like I'm really coming back to like myself, but I went through this portal. Like I felt like I dove through a tunnel. And the whole time I was diving through, I knew like only love was real. I knew it. But I had to act out some stuff. I had to purify some stuff. It was like marrying my yoga teacher. I had to go on this journey. I just knew I had to. I knew I was going to disappoint everybody. I knew I was going to lose my business. I knew I was going to lose my friendships. I knew I was going to, alienate my parents. But guess what? Because only love is real, all the loving is still there. Everything else is falling away. So like relationships are coming back together. And it's miraculously happening because I'm detached from it. I gave it to God. I was like, well, if I'm supposed to be, and now I'm getting these downloads of ways to make amends with people, like people that I really do need to call and ask for forgiveness, that I hurt them. And it was good for them too. I played the villain for you because that's what you needed for whatever reason. I don't know. I didn't write the script, but I want to play the part that I signed up to as perfectly as possible. And I think that that's all that's really asked for us, is to just show up every day and to be the most loving that you can. Yeah. You're getting some good juice here, Sarah. Susan is saying you look so gorgeous in your blanket.
It's July here it's July everywhere, but in Nova Scotia usually it's really hot, but the last few days have been cold, and
wow,
we've had rain, and anyways, today there's a cool, it's beautiful sunny, but it's a cool breeze, so I'm wrapped up. But I really hear you on the thing around relationships, and one thing I've been contemplating lately has been like social awkwardness, because a lot of us have been, a lot of relationships have gone away and maybe new ones have come in. And then I've just been contemplating on the idea of social awkwardness sometimes when we're even now opening to gathering more actually in person, and noticing that's very elevating energetically, but also it can be depleting at the same time because we haven't been used to it. And anyway, for me, there's been miracles happening socially. And yesterday there was a market that took place in our village in Shelburne. And I realized I had all attitudes about it, that, basically I was too good for it. And I didn't really want to associate with these people because I've felt very wounded by a lot of people in my community. And some of it has come from me speaking out, being bold with truth, and maybe not very kind. I need to examine that. And having strong opinions on vaccination and all these things. Anyways, I went down to this market. Of course, they had all these rules around which way you had to go, everything. And I didn't really follow that, but there was no problem with me not following it. The first person I bump into is this woman who used to be in my classes. And she would have, during last summer, called me an anti-masker, and she was very much into the mask and everything, and I felt there was just a lot of acrimonious energy between the two of us, and I felt very hurt by her. And anyways, she came right up to me and said, "How are you doing, Sarah?" And I was like, wow, like, and we just had a beautiful conversation, and I really felt sincerity in her checking in with me. And you know, because people have been away, I hadn't ever run into her in the street or anything. The only time I could really connect with her is actually through social media, and which is not great. I mean, it can be great, but basically we were both kind of hooked into these hard feelings with each other. Anyways, I just felt like everything could get erased in that moment. Like it was miraculous.
Yeah.
I honestly could feel like it was swiped away, and just face-to-face connection. And she actually did have a mask on and I didn't, but I didn't feel any judgment from her, or if there was, it wouldn't do anything to me, because I've worked a lot with this whole mask thing myself around just doing what feels right for me and not needing to judge other people for what they're doing or why they're doing it.
Right.
It really is up to them. So yeah, that was just one example of a miracle. But generally, the energy down at this market yesterday was so elevating. It was so elevating. And I went over to one tent, and they had all the musicians were there, and they were shoulder to shoulder, many instruments and many singing. And a lot of these people are people who I know have been really into the masking and all that, and they're all singing out together. And I'm like, wow, okay, that was a miracle. And I stood there and witnessed it. And one man was standing back beside me, and I hadn't seen him in a while either. He's a musician, and he was standing with a cane. And I said, "How are you doing?" And he looked at his leg and his cane, and he said, "Well, other than this, I'm doing pretty good." But he said with such a big heart, he said, "We've gone far too long without gathering like this." And I could just feel there was deep truth in what he said. There was great beauty in what he said. There was also great sorrow there. And I even hear him saying that maybe part of his physical suffering was from not connecting, not being able to. And anyways, I felt like I really heard him, and it was just beautiful. And anyway, and there was one vendor who was not masked, and I went right over to her and I said, "Oh, so lovely to see your smiling face." And she was selling soaps and jams and jellies. And anyways, all of her soaps are natural. And so I bought some soap from her. Lots of interesting conversation. And yeah, so I went home on this village market, which felt like it has been stolen from us for over a year. And it's come back with a big boom with all sorts of people together and wanting to be together. And
yeah,
I will go back next Sunday. And yeah, I appreciate the miracles. I'm reflecting on grudges and hard feelings that, or also acknowledging how I've felt the need to protect myself with people, but also realizing that it sure has been easy to keep grudges when we haven't just been naturally crossing paths with one another. So yeah, so I'm feeling that. And then another thing, kind of connected with the social office thing, is since there has been a lot of division, I'm noticing a willingness to connect more with strangers. And there was somebody from the city. We call the city, only city in Nova Scotia is Halifax, the only city. Anyway, this fellow was come out this way, and he was asking to connect with some of us who are in a group chat about a Nova chat, a lot of the political and social things that are going on in our government here. Anyways, there's this, he said in this way, I immediately went to this place of feeling like, oh, well, I need to bring my home to him, and my friend Shelly is here, and we need to host him or whatever. And I realized I extended that to this person. And then I started feeling like, oh, that's too much. That maybe feels not right for me. And I maybe need to correct that. I'm still looking at that. I haven't corrected it, or I'm looking at it if I need to do that. I am looking at these things of nurturing, welcoming people, mothering, beyond mothering your own children, but in a community, and looking at these things of like, how much is to do just because it's our job, or whether it's coming from a really centered, healthy place. So
Yeah.
those are some things that were coming up, and thank you for listening. And I know we're a little group here. Who else is in the lab? I can't really see that because I'm on this, but thank you, both you, Alan and Marie.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sarah, for all that sharing. There was just a few things that came through for me as I was listening to you, and I'll start, hopefully I'll remember them all, but like the most recent one is that level of extension that we often offer. And we want to be that open with each other. Like there's that real, it almost feels like we've been activated so much in these last 18 months, where now that we are coming together, we're like, oh, come on in, just come right into my house. Like come sleep in my, come sleep on the couch, or, hey, yeah, sure. Use the bathroom. It's like, we just, like want to bring everyone in. And I, just recently going through something where I overextended myself in a really big way, Sarah, I would listen to that inner, listen to that feeling of like, do I really need to overextend myself this level? Like, I see the need for it in us, those of us that want to really get to that 5D experience. Like we want to be in the state where there's only love. But the reality that I find that I'm walking these days is that not everybody is vibing there yet. For extensions, like we've all vibed, but how long are you willing to stay there, and how willing are you to do the work of relationships? And now that we're starting to come back together, we need to learn how to find our boundaries again. Like, where do I start and where do you begin, and how does this mesh again? Because I'll tell you what, jumping full throttle in, for me, it's a burn. It's a bit of a burn, so there's a cautiousness that I'm going to love on everybody. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to love on everybody at the markets. I'm going to smile at the maskers and the non-maskers and the vaxxers and the non-vaxxers. And I'm going to find my way in the middle with all of this. But one thing I am going to do is be very cautious around how close I bring people into my inner circle, because there's grievances that people are holding, and there's energies, and there's been a lot of trauma these last 18 months. And each of us are going to need to do our own work. And that's going to be done individually. We can do it together. Like if we sit in a circle and we do some healing work, and that's what I really love to do. It's like, that's this next level that we're going back to our Puerto, where we've been living for the last few years. And we're going to get organized again in terms of our events and our programs online and in person and all of that, because those are the concepts where I feel comfortable, where it's like, I can serve you. Here's what I'm going to offer you. Here's what you are signing up for. There's an agreement. There's a clarity on expectations. Without clarity on expectations and purpose right now, it is, from my humble experience, it's a recipe for disaster. It was just like, we can't just assume everyone is vibing the way that we are. It doesn't mean we judge it. We just need to really observe where our energy is, because people, it's like Alan said earlier, he's like, it was really nuanced and said very quickly, people give me their shit. Like, if people give me shit, well, nobody can give us shit unless we take it. And we're taking too much of other people's shit. We're taking too much shit. Like, we need to stop taking the shit and start, like, that's your shit, dude. And it really smells like not that mine, well, it's a lot better, like a whole heck of a lot better. Like, if you start eating fruit, like, you're going to see what's going to happen to everything. Like, you're not going to smell like you smell right now, brother. I love you, but you smell. So you have to go sit over there. Okay. And if you want to talk to me, you got to talk to me over there, and I can sit over here. And I love you. It's not about love here. It's about really honoring your energy, because otherwise there's space for grievance. And it's not that you're mad at them. You're mad at you because you knew better. And you let people into your field when you got the intuition, you got the sign that you need to be careful. Like, when you're in teaching mode, like, I always think of Christ as like, he was in teaching mode when he went to go see the lepers. It wasn't like he was hanging out in his private space and all of them came, into his house. That's not, if it happened, it wasn't the story we got, if we're looking at it. It's, if people are going to come into this house, there's clarity around, the rules of this house. We might get so crazy that we're like, look, you can't even come to this house if you ate garlic within the last 3 days. We might get that crazy. I don't know. Probably not. But at some point, wouldn't it be cool to be like, all right, look, there's a level of purpose here that's going to ground this. So if you decide to bring someone into your home, for example, you can ask them, what are your expectations? What are your purpose? And ask yourself, like, what are my expectations from having this person in my house? What's the win for you? The universe is win-win. God is all about win-win. The world is about win-lose. And if we learned anything, we learned that big this time around. Some people win and some people lose. That's how this egoic construct operates. Well, no, 5D doesn't operate that way. At 5D, everybody wins. But those of us who are tapping it have to be really careful, because we're going to lose. We're going to lose fast, because we're like, we got way open. So if you're going to live, one of my dear friends said to me recently, if you're going to live with your heart this open, you need to create energetic boundaries. And that's why I said earlier in the show with my friend, it was like the minute he said vaccine, I went, oh my God, am I going to catch his vibration? I went, that's crazy. That's an illusion. I am going to this out, because I'm on purpose. I came to this knowing that we weren't fully aligned, but I wanted to give myself this opportunity to see if I could actually sit here in front of this person and love him anyway. Can I do that? Well, shame on me if I can't. Does that mean I want to share my house with him? No, I really don't. And that's okay. But I could share an hour and a half, at a public place and have some fun and give him some love. He was so happy. He was so happy. It was such a gift. And it was such a gift to see that. So I don't know if that's helpful, but do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense or resonate with you on any level? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We have to be really careful.
Yeah. And I think, like, I was using social awkwardness, but I'll just say, giving ourselves permission to feel when, okay, oh yeah, this actually feels like this is enough now, and I can make a graceful exit, or I can gracefully ask for someone to leave my space, because I need to take care now. I need to, whatever. I also, a big thing for me right now in relationships is also acknowledging what are needs. And when I tune into this other person, getting their needs, and can we actually have that mature conversation about needs. And like, yeah, we can take care of our own needs and do a lot of things to take care of our needs, but also I also feel it is very fine to acknowledge with another person that how we could asking for help, like a meal to be made for us, or that we would appreciate walking with somebody, and if we walk alone a lot or whatever, but also just practice more and more trusting ourselves and others to take care.
Yes.
That and
Yes.
for there to be a no.
Yes.
You're sensing this person never practices saying no, you can feel and do that mature conversation and say, you know what, it's okay to say no to me, and to say it rudely, because I'm kind of sensing that maybe this is called, am I right about this? Am I right that it is difficult for you to say no? Because I could be totally projecting my own stuff here. I really like playing around, practicing, and being really honest. Like right now with some of my women friends, I know that they're in their relationship with their partner, who are men. I do sense there's not a level of honesty there that I would want. And I am comparing, but I'm not saying to that person, oh, shame on you, you're in this relationship. I'm not in a intimate relationship, but I do know that what I would want with this woman is, I'm really asking for as deep honesty as possible. I really do want that. And so I will be challenged, and I want to be challenged. I truly do. Whether this is a like Zoom chat or a neighbor, intimate partner.
Yeah, but you can trust that you will be challenged without, my sense of, I just want to kind of pop in to say that I feel like so many of us are waiting for other people to shine their mirrors on our dark spots, when I really feel like it's as an adult, it's like you were speaking about needs.
Yeah.
It's our responsibility to sort out what our own needs are and to make sure that they're fulfilled. And when we don't do that, we're being spiritually immature on some level, because we're expecting someone else to know what we need. Now, if we need someone else to, participate in manifesting and making sure that we have our needs met, then our real need is clear and direct communication. That's what we really need, is to be clear and direct in our communication. Love says no. Love says no. Love says no. And I really feel like, for me personally, and I don't know, maybe this isn't where you're at right in this moment, it's about pulling out of other people's journey and like trying to psychoanalyze everybody, unless they're coming to me for that, like, and they signed up for that, like i.e. coaching or one of my private courses or whatever, like, or this show, or, this type of container. I find it's like incestuous. It's like gross. It's like, we're all equal players here. Like, I want to trust that everybody else can sort out their own stuff. And unless they ask me, like my friend who, said to me, well, she ruined me in his last, I go, really? Did she? Like, that's all I said. And for him, it blew the wheels off the thing. it just shook him up like, oh, right. That's like that. You know what I'm saying? I guess I want us to be really careful that we're not spending so much of our time focusing on other people's spiritual growth and pulling our energy way back in. That's how we heal others. That's how it works. You become a powerhouse. It's like if I have a friend right now, and if I call her and try and give her drama right now, she takes me right out of it into the miracle. And I have had some serious stuff go down. Like I got 2 little kids. Like, I could come onto these shows and talk about, all sorts of craziness right now. I'm consciously choosing not to because I'm working it out. I'm doing the work. And because I'm doing that, I can share with you the gems. I can say to you, guys, focus on your own stuff and try and stay out of drama. Try and stay out of victimhood. Try and stay out of I was hurt or you hurt me. Because you're not a victim of the world you see. That's a beautiful Course in Miracles lesson that I come back to a lot. Anytime I'm playing the victim or I'm playing you rejected me or I'm playing, this, I miss the miracle. Like the latest is with a school that just said, well, they didn't want our kids because of some of the work I did online, like straight up. I don't know, a few months ago, I would have come on the show, went on this whole rampage about how crazy these people are and how they're not seeing the light and this. And it was just like, I felt it. I felt the rejection because I still have that in my field. I still have some of that tenderness. And then I was like, this is such a good thing for us. This is such a blessing in disguise. So many miracles are going to occur because of this. Thank you for this rejection. It's perfect. And boom, the minute I did that, I tell you, the red carpet came out again. There it was. And everything organized itself. And it's still revealing itself to me because I can only see so much at a time. Spirit knows I might F it up. So only going to give me as much as I can take. And then it was like, oh, okay, I know what the next right thing is. The next right thing is to pack these babies up and take them to the city. So we can go get in some parks and go have some fun, go do some fun stuff in the world. Because I don't need to be in school. Neither do we. We don't have to be in these programs anymore. We can create our own programs. We can create our own lifestyle. Work doesn't have to be from 9 to 4 every day. We can change these things. So I know I went on a little bit of a journey with that, but I really think that it's each of us creating our own heaven on earth is going to bust this thing in bigger and better ways, and trusting that other people can do their own work because we're doing ours and I'm not responsible to do somebody else's. That's a nuance that I was messing up. I was trying, and someone recently said to me, she was like, I wanted to call you and wake you up and tell you all this stuff. I can see it now because I had to take certain steps. And I trust my brothers and sisters who are one with me to take the steps they need to take. Some people might need to take the jab for their evolution. I don't know. I don't know. How presumptuous for me to say I know. Like maybe it's the perfect thing for them. Maybe it's the perfect thing. Maybe it gives them so much comfort. Maybe it won't affect their body. I don't, we can read the scariest stuff in the world and we can say it's all nothing. But again, what's true for me and for our family? I'm responsible for that. So I really feel like that's what I want to hone in for today's Miraculous Mondays is this week, really focus on where you're tempted to pull out pull in, where are your grievances? What are you learning? What are your soul lessons? How are you willing to see something differently? If it's giving you pain and anxiety, how can you see it differently? How can you forgive the person? Let them off the hook. They did the perfect part for you. They did it perfect. Let them off the hook. Learn your lessons, and if you need some help, go to people that you trust. Because like you said just now, Sarah, like trust is the foundation that we need to build upon. And our trust has been really severed these last 18 months. We don't know who to trust. And we put on these personas online, and so our Facebook personas, like I wrote a friend earlier today who is the opposite spectrum of where I'm at, who used to be an old student and a friend and things like that. And I saw two of them together in this picture and immediately was like, oh my God, I love this picture. I'm so happy to see you guys together. But my inner critic was like, she might have been following you. She might not like you anymore. She might, respond negatively to this. But I was like, forget it. I'm sharing love. Because I did. That was my initial response. I love you guys. What did she say back? We love you too. That was it. But I want to back off of like, I'm a truth. I think a lot of us were like horses, like it was a race and the gate went off and we just went, poof. We saw, we needed to say something. We went, we didn't care. We didn't care who we hurt. We just annihilated the whole thing. Well, now it's time to pick up the pieces, from my humble opinion, and acknowledge the work that we did do and look at what do we want the next 18 months to look like. For me, it's about reestablishing trust in my brothers and sisters. And that cannot happen in the space of judgment. It's just, it's against the universal law. It's like cause and effect. I have to go to the cause of this if I want to change the effect of this behavior. I have to look at what's causing this. Well, it's my belief that I have to, be everything for everyone. That's the cause, which creates this effect of weird relationships where I create resentments and disharmony, and then it's weird. And then I got 3 months of like, it's like, okay, look at why do I do these things? So it's so awesome, Sarah, that you're playing at that level. Of course you are. Because you're like, wait a second here. I don't know. Am I ready for that? And I think it's okay for us to go slow here. Slow down. This guy's on dry fasting for 100 and some hours. Like that's whoa. Like slow, like whoa. I'm not ready to go that slow yet, but that's okay because he's doing it. It's like, again, all levels practice in the same room. So in the yoga space, some people are going to be doing the splits and some people are going to be doing a lunge. But we're all in this sacred container together. And if we're always like, well, he's in the splits and I need to be there, dude, you're missing where you are in this perfect moment, stretching your hamstrings and breathing at the same time. What a gift. So it's less about the form now and more about the function. And the function for all of us is how do we function in the state of love? How do we do this now? We all kind of woke up to a lot of stuff we didn't know about, or we did, and now it's another level, all the things. So it's a real gift to be in this time, in space and time, to learn how to maneuver, because we are, reestablishing ourselves. That's why it's fun to come back to a big city that I know so well. Being, in like talking about my old life when, it used to be so fun when we ate those things. That was fun. It was fun. It was fun. It was really fun. And now this is also really, really fun and really exciting. And like, wow, I had so much fun on orange juice. Like, who would have thought that was possible? It's crazy. It's crazy. I remember thinking I could never not smoke cigarettes. It's gross. I used to smoke cigarettes. I'm saying that online just because people do those things. I see it. But you are not gross. The action is gross. But it's okay. Like, that's what you're doing right now. When you're done to do that, you'll realize how strong you really are. So yeah, we are very, very powerful, very, very powerful beings we are created by this magnificence. It holds stars in place. Like, I don't know how to do that, but I like that energy. So I'll just kind of line up to it. Let it show me what to do. And so let's do that in this moment. Is there anything that wants to be shared before we finish for today? Thanks, friends. I know I kind of
Before we do the meditation, I just want to show you what's out my window. I'm just going to turn the camera around here. Just a second. I don't know if you can see that.
Well, looks
Isn't that lovely?
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I've been at as I'm tuning into you guys. So
It's beautiful.
it is.
Nature is so beautiful, and we're so blessed. We're so blessed. I mean, that's what's so fun about being in a city too, just like seeing the trees just popping out of nowhere. Like, nature, like yesterday looking at all the flowers, nature's so exposed. It's so exposed. Like, so that's what we're learning to do. We're learning to get to the place where it's, yes, brother, come into my home. But like, let's give ourselves some time to learn again how to be in our natural state. We're learning. We're getting there. I really feel such a shift in the energies right now. Even online, I feel a lot of people talking more about this conversation rather than, the other stuff, because the other stuff's kind of getting boring. It wasn't bringing us the peace and the joy and the love that we all seek, and it was distracting us and keeping us in those energetic fields of a lower, denser vibration when we're already 5-dimensional. Like, we just want to be there. So just go there. Just go there, stay there, and be careful with, do you want to dip down or not? Not so much anymore. And what's going to dip me down? Energy, judgment, resentment, grievance. Those are the things. Certain foods are going to have me down. So I don't want to go there anymore. Relationships that are, tug of war, let go of the rope, walk away. It's all good. I love you forever. Love you forever. Love you forever. But I got to go. It's too much fun to be had. All right. Really,
Yeah.
it's too much fun to be had at this point. We've suffered enough. And, not to say that we won't have suffering in the future, but we can have a beautiful experience in this life. We can use everything for our learning. And that's what I think the next level of the truth movement is about. Is, all right, well, I'm done waiting for A, B, and C to happen. I'm done being manipulated by dates and programs that are supposed to, I'm done. I've been manipulated for a long time, way too long. I've made decisions based on that big decisions. I don't regret it, but I want to learn from it and start making different decisions now that have to do with my own sovereignty. Not at the effect of all of this. I get to create this. So let's just do a real quick one to really ground in all of these teachings. And if I can invite you to just bring your hands together in front of your heart and close your eyes. And really feel the embrace of love. I wish for everyone here in this moment to know that they are so loved and treasured by their creator, and that they need no one to connect to their higher selves. All they need is the intention and the willingness to be who we were created to be, as instruments of loving consciousness in action. We ask, instead of strength, for focus, to keep our minds and our hearts and our bodies aligned to the highest truths and the clearest wisdom for each and every one of us. Directly, we ask that our channels be cleared, any grievances and resentments, any cords of energy be removed by the divine hand now. and that space be filled with an earthly and cosmic blend of healing energy, of new information, so that we might learn how to exist with miracles occurring naturally and with our awareness. Let's go ahead and just take 3 deep breaths on your own. Beautiful. Namaste. You have a week filled with miracles. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Stay beauties. Thank you for this really sweet show, for holding the space for me. It's always really healing for me to let out what comes through. And Alan, your presence is just so gorgeous and healing. And Sarah, I love your honesty, and just your heart space is just so big. It's really big. It's really big. You're welcome. Just remember that our hearts have a larger biomagnetic field than our minds. So let us get into our hearts. Let us pulse out the energy. Let us be guided, and let our minds rest a little bit on their strategizing and creating, and just be in the heart. Look forward to next week, and much love to all of you. Bye for now.